Welcome to the Thriving Tides podcast. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Julianne. If you're an entrepreneur or busy individual looking for self-care ideas, you're in the right place.
And we can't wait to share our experiences with you. We are back! What? Welcome back to the closet. And if you are watching, you probably noticed it's a different setup.
Such an upgrade.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Season 3.
Season
Don't even know when hit 'em.
We're just coming at you, and we're also coming at you with a pretty hardcore topic today too. We're just going in strong with both our topics coming up.
I mean, why be here if we're not going to talk about something important?
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. We do like to have fun here too. But.
Yeah. But we also need to have those important conversations.
Yes.
And it's funny because I've been, since our break, I've been heavy on the TikToks. And
have you?
This is like where the ideas of these two topics, so this episode and the next episode that will be coming out soon, after this one, this is where I got the ideas, both on
From
TikTok.
the TikTok. Thank you, TikTok.
Thank you, TikTok. Thank you for all that. But it's interesting because we're talking about the hashtag GirlBoss or Boss Babe movement that happened, I guess it would be about 2016 to...
Yeah, maybe even a little bit earlier.
A little bit earlier,
I think
maybe?
some of my research I was seeing 2014 to 2016
True.
was predominant there.
The best
that's where it really
years
kicking
of it.
off. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what we're talking about today, and in particular the downfall, and I am using the bunny ears of it, and we have a bunch of different opinions. You guys had a lot of opinions on Instagram as well, so thank you so much for those who replied back with some feedback. But before we even get started on the topic, we've been gone for a while, so what have you been up to, Julianne?
Well, the deep sea fishing is open now.
Woo!
Joey's deep sea fishing. So that's been a big focus of mine over the last little bit.
Yeah.
Just getting everything up and running. We're a little over a week in now, so that's cool. Otherwise, I hurt my back. So I was laid up for a few days, but besides that, just trying to take care of myself, and summer in some ways has been really busy, but then in other ways I've found a lot of really good reflection and restorative time too. So I feel like this summer I'm doing it right so far.
Yeah, you were kind of forced into that restorative.
All you can do is lay there.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to deal with it. I'm feeling much better now, but it was a good 10 or 11 days of not working out for me.
Oh, yeah. And we were going to record that week, too. And I'm like, Julia,
Yeah.
maybe sitting on my floor in my closet is not the best idea right now.
Yes, and I appreciate that. Thank you. So we are coming back a week later than planned because of that. But,
Hey.
maybe that's the way it was just meant to be.
I was going to say, that's just what needed to happen.
What have you been up to, Stephanie?
Oh, man. I've just been working away, cross-stitching away. I've been doing so much cross-stitching. And yeah, just kind of, my summer has started to really blow up. So I have a lot of stuff going on. So I'm just trying to play a lot of catch up with work right now to make sure I get a huge chunk done before I go for my little trip back home in August. Getting my second shot soon too, so that's exciting. And yeah, no, there's just been a lot happening, which I think that's the point of summer.
Yeah.
I think we even did
You've
a post.
had one camping trip so far too, right?
Just one.
Just one.
Well, we were going to go a couple times, but both weekends were super rainy, and we have a tent, we don't have a camper van or anything
Mother
that.
Nature.
So we're just we have a dog too, and wet
dog in the tent.
Yeah, it's just not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've only been once, but we'll be going soon again too.
Yeah, together. I wish that acoustics didn't matter so much and that we could just sit at our campsite and record a session.
Oh my goodness.
That would be great.
We should actually do a fire sesh.
Ooh.
Would that interest you guys? Although the only downside is we can't control other people around us.
True. We'll see. I like where our campsite is. I feel like it's kind of tucked away.
Yeah.
So maybe a Thriving Tides fireside chat will be coming out as a bonus episode.
Or in the tent.
I like it.
Oh,
All right.
man.
So that
But yeah,
said, let's jump in. and talk about the downfall of the girl boss.
Oh, goodness. I think the biggest... Well, before we even get started, because I have so many opinions on this one, but what are... Like, have you ever been a big fan of the girl boss? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
I think I have stronger thoughts now than when I was first introduced to it. I've only been in business for the last 2 years, really. So I wasn't really, like, looking into it before that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, at first, it just was a trendy thing to jump on with, I think, is where I saw it, right? Like, okay, I'll use the hashtags and I'll do the thing. And, like, the first time Girl Boss was really in my face was because of Girl Boss PEI, which I think we'll probably end up talking more about in a little bit, too. But we've talked Empower PEI on here before. It used to be called Girl Boss or Girl Bosses, a PEI. I don't even remember correctly what it was because it's now been changed for about 18 months. But that was probably like where I jumped into it the most because it was a community versus just the saying is what I kind of felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, I'm not going to lie, from my perspective, especially when it was, like, first coming out, that's when they had that Girl Boss book come out. The Jensen Shero had her book, and I really like that book still to this day. And there was just, like, a whole entire movement, and you couldn't... I think people that are, like, yes, now it's become untrendy to say it, but at the time, I think a lot of people, especially people now that say that they are against it, probably did also kind of feed into it a little bit, too. I definitely
I'd say more
did.
than kind of.
Yeah, like, I remember using the hashtag girlboss, and it felt like it was kind of a really empowering movement at the time when it first came out. Like, yeah, we can do it. Why can't we do it?
Yeah.
Now it's become a little bit deviated from the original. And I don't know. I think it started, with very much empowerment, but then it became like a fake facade in a very performative way. And it is kind of interesting to me, and another reason why I really wanted to talk about this topic in particular is because, like, we're talking about self-care.
Yeah.
And right now, self-care is the new topic. And there's been a couple times where people are like, oh, it's just a way for people to get money and stuff like that. And my fear is that hashtag self-care is going to become the hashtag girl boss.
Ooh.
And that's a big fear of mine.
It may already be.
It already kind of is. People are tired of it. And it's sad because from my perspective, I'm like, no, but look at this good thing. Like, how can it be bad that, you know, you're taking care of yourself? And it's not, and we talk about this all the time on the podcast too, that it's not about taking bubble baths all the time and buying the expensive wine for yourself. Like,
it's like true restoration.
Exactly. Self-love, compassion, really doing the hard, deep work, the uncomfortable work.
Yeah.
That's what self-care is to me. And when I see that, like, it start to already kind of go into the consumerism aspect that Girl Boss went into, I am fearful for our podcast and our brand, because I feel like we have done so much for our community, and we've gotten so many great responses, so thank you guys, by the way. But it'll be interesting to see, and I think that's just a challenge for us to continue to really be loud and proud about what self-care means to us and what Thriving Tide stands for. We can't control how other people are going to start to perceive it, but hopefully it doesn't take as drastic of a shift as this, because you're right. Like, when Girl Boss first came out, it was very much a let's band together and women are awesome, so we can do this. And, you know, like, let's elevate these women, because often it's the men who are getting the accolades or getting ahead and things like that. Now it's like there's so many more discussions about the gender gap and what that looks like, and we're gonna get into so much today. But with self-care, will that happen too? I don't know. It's hard to, we can't predict the future. We definitely cannot.
But what do you think it is about the Girl Boss that has taken it from this awesome thing where we were all very excited to be part of it, and it was like women banding together and you know, really like being brave enough to put ourselves out there, to what it is now.
Oh, I know that answer.
Well, then tell us.
Well, again, like I've been watching so many TikToks on it.
TikTok has the answers.
TikTok has all the answers. But so, like, for one thing, we can't not talk about it is MLMs, right?
Yeah.
No matter what you feel about them, it is targeting women. Particular.
Yeah.
Most of MLMers
I would
are
even
women.
say, go as far to say moms.
And moms. Moms, and I heard, like, army wives especially that are in, like, really small communities that are just looking for friends because they're always moving. That's a big one. And the problem, like, I've always had a bad experience with MLMs because I lost a lot of people that I really love. So it was kind of a touchy subject for me, to be really blunt with it. And the thing with, like, MLMs is, like, they do the whole hashtag GirlBoss, you can do it. And they kind of took the hashtag GirlBoss and put it in everything.
Right.
Like, if you go to, like, I remember, like, watching on YouTube, like, someone showing one of those events that they do or whatever, and all of it was like hashtag girl boss. They had hashtag girl boss this, and the whole culture was hashtag girl boss. But then here are these people spending a whole bunch of money, losing a lot of money, and they're told to basically work really hard. And that's when girl boss became literally repackaged hustle culture for women. And hustling for what? Because unfortunately only the people on the top of the pyramid are ever going to see any monetary gain. You can work so hard in MLMs and you can actually lose money.
Oh yeah.
And like and again, I don't want to go too deep into it because I do have a lot of people that I love that are in MLMs, and I just kind of step away from it.
Yeah. It's like not really our thing.
It's exactly. We don't know too much about it, that I don't want to, talk too much about it, because I don't.
Yeah.
I know what I know, and that's it.
Yeah. And if people want to know more about our thoughts on the hustle culture, episode 13.
Yes, episode
go back
13.
and give it a listen. A listen. A listen.
A listen.
A listen.
For that.
Yeah, you're right though. It's almost like the girl boss movement went from empowerment of being unstoppable to like, well, you're just not working hard enough if it's not working. Like, come on, girl boss, you just need to work harder. You need to work more. You need to just go, right? And like another thing, I don't want to feel like this whole episode is not just to harp on MLMs, but another part of it is fit it into the pockets of your life. And it's like, but maybe those pockets are supposed to be for your self-care. Maybe they're not supposed to be to do more work. Right? I always struggle with that too, because it's like, well, when are these people relaxing? When are they slowing down? If it's, I have a 10-minute window, I better jump on Instagram or, check in with my Facebook group or whatever. It's just that hustle. And then you're just wired. And you're not taking care of yourself.
Exactly. And like, you almost feel guilty if you're not hustling, because all your peers are saying hashtag girl boss. Look how much I'm hustling right now. I'm a boss babe. Yeah. I'm a CEO. That's another one that was kind of attached to it too. Yeah. And it's true. Like, and that's another reason why it's like, I know it's kind of hypocritical, because even when I first started my business, it is easy to go into that culture and feel uplifted. Like, obviously I wasn't part of the MLM culture, but like at the same time I was reading all those basically girl boss books. I was consuming content that was a lot of girl boss stuff, and it did, I'm not gonna lie, help me in the sense that it kind of lit the fire under my ass, and I was like, okay, I actually just need to put my foot down and just do it. So the thing with me is that the hardest part is just starting. Stubborn in that way.
You're stubborn?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. And then I think too, like, so I think we've talked the hustle part to death now. But it's like, why do we need to dictate that it's a woman or a girl or a female or whatever it might be, like the CEO or the girl boss or boss babe? We would never be like, boy boss or, you know, like
Yeah.
we don't indicate it when it's a man, and there's so much talk about equality. So why are we separating ourselves? Like I have a really difficult time understanding how that all could come together, I guess.
Exactly. No, I definitely 100% agree.
I think that's part of why, well, I know, so we'll talk about like GirlBoss as a PEI again, and the shift to empower PEI, which was controversial as well. Because it wasn't discussed with the community. It was just decided and shared, which all rights to do, right? But people were like, what? Because some people were like, no, I really like it because it's, you know, it's very clear that it's just for women or whatever. But then it was like, well, no, like if we're looking at a world where inclusivity is really top of mind and something that people are actually practicing, then having a woman only group actually isn't inclusive.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's like now we look at all genders, no matter what you identify as versus what you were born as, like all these different things. And then the word empower really does align better. And I do love the word empower versus, you know, girl boss for myself. But I still think even as things start to move in these directions, like we still have so much work to do.
Oh, yeah. Well, and like you were just mentioning too, like the gender pay gap, it's still ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if we are moving towards empowering and community and all, like having the conversation of us doing everything together, then it then separates okay, this person gets this much more. Like I actually have a graphic that I put, and it's like the white man gets $1 to every 79 cents the woman makes.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It does not make sense.
And the thing is too, when we talk about equality, I still remember, like, I worked in very male dominated industries for a long time. Like, still, even graphic design is still a very male dominated industry. And it's funny that, like, another reason why I think Girl Boss was such a great movement was at the time that we weren't having those conversations either. You're just kind of expected to kind of go with that kind of culture. Like, I just kind of, like, I still remember I used to be like, talked down on or, like, talked badly, like, from a man's perspective. And I'm just like, why am I not standing up for myself? And I think it gave a lot of people a lot of confidence, which is good. And the thing is, too, like, I still see that there's a whole bunch of gaps in even, like jobs. For example, even for, like, in my industry, for example, a lot of my guy friends that graduated with me are now, like, top level, and I'm still kind of, like, figuring everything out. And I almost kind of wonder if it's like a societal thing where I feel like I need to stay right here because I'm not ready to do the next step. But if we were as equal, then perhaps I wouldn't have that. And it's not like confidence in myself. Like, I think it's just like a societal thing that I'm putting on myself.
Yeah. I think it's kind of twofold. I think it's just if you look back in history, right? Like, men get more access to more things. They're more well accepted. If it's a white man or even just a man, like, we could have a whole conversation bringing race into this too, but I'm not sure we're going to go that deep today. But people hire similar people to them.
Yeah.
Right. So if it's already men in power, chances are more men are going to come up through the ranks because that's what they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
So already that's behind us. But then there's also lots of research out there that shows that the confidence that men have versus what women have is just outstanding, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you and a man were equally qualified for a job, and let's say you're not 100% qualified, you're like 75% there, that man would hands down not even think about it. He would just apply.
Oh, yeah.
And you would be like, oh, no, I can't.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So we hold ourselves back. And we've been trained to, because history has shown ourselves, well, the man's going to get it anyway. So it's coming at us from all these different angles and holding us back, when it's like all this other work that we need to do, continue to do for ourselves and for those around us, so that these continue to break down. I don't think it's as bad as it was, but it's still not awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It's far from it.
And I think, like, that's to the credit, I do think, of some of the girl boss movements and stuff, is bringing down that, and more women are being like, no, I can do this. Like, step aside. Yeah. And I think that's another thing, too, is as a woman, I see other women kicking ass, and I'm like, I can do that, too. Why am I not doing that? And especially having the conversations, like, that we're having today to talk about these things. I'm glad that those conversations are now happening. Yes. As well.
Yeah. So. Definitely.
And it's funny because we even had one comment on our Instagram, and they had a really good point, and they said, honestly, I'm not a fan of grown adults being referred to as girls in most capacities. Another person said, it's sad that we still need it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And when I read that one, it's sad that we still need it, I think I interpreted it in one way and then wondered if it was meant in a different way. Because I think, like, do we still need it? And is it like some people are grasping that they still feel like they need it, or is it actually still needed?
Oh, I didn't even see that part.
Yeah,
okay,
I kind of looked at it
from two perspectives. You know, I kind of wonder.
Right? So the person who did it, we said that we would keep things anonymous, so we won't name anyone. Yeah. But I'm just curious to know what that angle was for them. Because you're right. But being referred to as girls, like, I don't know. I guess, like, sometimes my dad will be like, hey, girls, like, if I'm hanging out with my friends or something, and that's, like, different because it's, like, my father and whatever. But if I was in a professional setting and I was referred to as a girl,
oh my gosh,
I think I would lose my shit.
I'd be so pissed off.
Right? Like, no.
I'm not a girl.
Like, you shouldn't have to label my gender anyway. Yeah. But if you're going to, at least call me a woman.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're not heated at all.
We're not heated at all. Another thing that I think that is bringing down the girl boss movement is the fact that people are now starting to realize that it kind of flipped into a huge capitalistic gain, if you will. It became a big money grab. Everything and anything in, like, Target, Walmart, all those
shirts, water bottles, notebooks, you name it. Everything.
Like, I remember going to Indigo and being like, is there a notebook without Boss Babe, Girl Boss? Like,
right? I just want a cute notebook.
I just want a notebook, perhaps with a pineapple on it. I don't care.
So specific. A pineapple.
I want a pineapple. Give me some fruit on my...
Yeah, you're right, though. And that's... And just to bring it back to the self-care, and I'm sure there's I'd be curious to hear from our listeners, what other things out there, like the self-care, the girl boss, are you seeing? Yeah. Like, well, hustle was a big one too, right? Oh. Like hashtag hustle and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's seeing something that's meant to be awesome and uplifting and, like, to open doors, and then see it just turn into this, like, consumerism grab is just, it's sad.
It's marketing feminism. It's literally mixing capitalism with social justice. Yeah. Which is just kind of like, why are we doing this? And it's funny because I wish I would have saved it when I watched the TikTok, but most of the people that gained something from Girl Boss were actually men.
Wow.
Which is the craziest.
That
because it's like
breaks my heart.
Right? Like, I was just like,
but
the more you know, but of course. And again, like, we're not like
we're not here to bash men.
Like, we're some kind of feminists here. Like, I think it's more so the fact that, like, you're literally being capitalistic on something that just is a conversation that just needed to be, like, had. Yeah. Why is it that everything needs to get turned into money, you know?
Yeah. But that is the world that we live in.
Yeah.
It's what can get me richer, what can get me ahead.
Well, the
As we
thing
both
is,
sigh.
too, like, okay, so especially in our society right now, a lot of marketing is being done for the eye of the millennial. Right?
Yep.
So a lot of the millennial focused marketing is because they're more aware socially of what's going on. They're ready to have those conversations.
Yes.
Same with the Gen Z
They're
and everything.
begging to have them, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're opening up their ears. They're on social media. They're willing to engage with that. So businesses are realizing, if I put some kind of thing attached to it, like, oh, if you buy my product, you'll save a whale. Like, you're more inclined to buy the product that's going to save a whale than a product that's just going to be a product.
Right.
And they're going to also probably upsell you a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's another funny thing is that needless to say, sometimes they even upprice their thing just to pay for the social cause that they're marketing towards.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I believe it.
And the problem with like doing that from like a branding perspective is that when you're putting that attached to your brand and your story, you seriously need to actually believe in it and be a part of it. So that's why, like, and this is just like from my personal thing, is like whenever I talk about like my brand, I don't outwardly talk about any social movements, because I feel like I don't have enough information and I don't want it to seem like I'm just bandwagoning so that I can be a social justice warrior for...
Look at me go!
Look at me! I'm the best business because I do this.
Yeah.
Especially if I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know, like even with feminism, like I feel like as a white woman, even though, yes, I know that I'm still not as equal to my male counterparts, I am still better off than any other like ethnicities. And again, we're not gonna go into that because again, we want to do more research on that kind of stuff. There's still a lot of
privilege that comes with being a white woman.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So it's like those are the kind of things that like I'm like I will never get on my soapbox and be like, let's talk about this as we talk about it. But it's more so like attached to like a business brand when you're actually trading money for something, and that's what really kind of grinds my gears. And I actually found a really good quote from an article, and in our show notes we'll definitely tag the article because it's a really good read. And it says, woke capitalism lets the elites maintain a status quo while paying lip service to the demands of activists, and as ethical consumers, millennials get to feel like they're making a difference every time they go shopping. And how I think it's so predatory that they know that millennials and Gen Zers, they just want to see good in the world. Same with like the eco movement. How many friggin' straws were sold, but that's not really the biggest cause that we need to look. We need to look at the big oil companies that are dumping oil in our water, not us freaking getting plastic straws.
Like how many straws would you actually use in a year?
So like, and I think that's the sad part, is that we're kind of being used for the socialism, and I know it goes back to, we're going to a little bit of a tangent here. But it goes back to the GirlBoss, that like it was a feministic, like we're gonna talk and have these conversations, we're gonna empower women, that all of a sudden got flipped into let's sell a bunch of shit. And
well, it became too much and it lost its meaning as it grew, right? And I'm sure lots of things happen like that too. Not just movements, but like this one in particular, what started out as a really great idea, and I'm not saying that it never should have happened. I think GirlBoss still moved a lot of things in the right direction, but then it just got so diluted. I think diluted's the right word, right?
Oh yeah. Words.
We're out of practice. And then, everyone's like, ooh, how do I make money off of this? And then it's just like, maybe there are still some people that are out there using the hashtag GirlBoss for the right reasons. Yeah. But it's just competing with so much now that it's like, okay, what is that next thing going to be to get us to over that next hump, I guess.
Exactly.
And where do we find that?
Exactly.
Right? And is that the goal? Is it the goal to do that? Or is it like, I don't know, what is the next direction?
But see, and that's the thing that I don't, right now I think our world is going, we're talking about other social issues happening in the world. And I think those are conversations that definitely need to be had a long time ago. But I think it's, just kind of, I think this is just from my perspective, but being more aware yourself. You know, there doesn't need to be a limitation. If you want that promotion, do it.
Yeah.
And even if, funniest thing, there's a project that I wasn't going to bid for because I knew a male competitor that's really talented applied for it. And I'm like, I'm never going to get it. And I was like, what are you doing, Steph? I applied for it. I didn't get it. I don't think he got it either. Someone else did, which is fine. But, like, it's even just taking the action yourself to realize when you're kind of, you know, dipping back into the societal norms of, I need to just pull back. No, you can do the dang thing.
Yeah.
Like,
and by not applying, you would have been robbing yourself of the experience of that whole process too, right? Because like every time, anything you do, you can learn from it. So if you were just to sit back and be like, no, then, you know, in a year's time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, when your business is still where it is or even completely failed because you haven't taken any type of risk, what are you going to have to show for yourself?
Exactly.
Just because you're a girl. Woman.
You're a woman.
You're a woman. Yeah, it's a tricky place to be, right? And it's, I think there's room for anyone at the table as long as they have the right skills. It shouldn't matter what gender they are, what color they are, any of that kind of stuff. And I know there's a lot of people in the world who feel that way, but then there's also a lot of people who don't. And it's just like, how do we get our voices there? And I love what you said, like it starts with yourself, right? Like if you're willing to do that and also willing to open the door for someone else if you have that ability to do it too, right? So it comes back to, like we talked about, community over competition, episode 40. Getting better at being able to tell people about these. We're learning too. But when you think about that, it's like, how do we like lift each other up? I'm like, actually, like, come on up here, right? Or lift them up from, you don't have to even go with them to that level, but to not always be in fear of the competition, no matter what that looks like. We can all have everything that we want, and so can everybody else.
Yeah.
And we don't have to have cutesy little hashtags to get us there. I think I don't want to think that the world has to rely on that to move things forward, but maybe I'm being really naive in that too. And maybe there's a new huge wave of crazy hashtag that's going to pop up any day now.
Well, I think hashtags are going to be a thing of the past in the next 5 years, but that's just my own thing.
So. But if it's not hashtags, it's going to be something.
It's going to be something.
TikToks.
Yeah, it's going to be TikTok. It's going to be people wearing shirts with the saying on it. And
with the Thriving Tides logo.
At the
just manifesting over here.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Steph? Are you excited to see hashtag GirlBoss sliding out of the day-to-day realm that you're going to see?
That's a loaded question. Because, yeah, like we're saying this whole podcast, as long as we're still moving onwards and upwards, not, going back, I'm very happy to see it go. And I'm not gonna lie, I've already kind of noticed that it's become kind of a not really done thing, you know? Like, I think it's weird because I have noticed that the GirlBoss, hashtag GirlBoss, has stayed kind of with the MLM culture there.
Yeah.
And I haven't really noticed, like, even, like, my own, like, design peers and stuff use it as much. It's more so community over competition is the new, or, talking about actual things going on in the world more so than anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I am excited to see, like, kind of where everything will go. And I'm just glad that, like, again, we're having these kind of conversations and it's not just kind of oh, that happened, ha ha ha. Yeah. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. What can we learn from it?
What can we learn from it?
What's the good that we can take from it to continue moving forward? And then what can we leave behind?
Exactly. And another thing too that I do really, really, really want to mention, that if someone that you know is still doing like the hashtag GirlBoss, or you're still doing it, like, we're not here attacking by any means.
You're wrong.
It's just more so that, like, we're trying to have the bigger conversation as to why. Yeah. Again, I used to hashtag GirlBoss all the time, and for me it did actually help me, and it gave me the confidence. Yeah. So, like, if you're doing it and you still love doing it, you do you, okay? Like, don't listen to this podcast and think that we're attacking you by any means. Yeah. It's just a conversation that I'm so glad that we're having, and it's been kind of heavy on my noggin in the last little while, so.
All those TikToks.
Oh, all the TikToks.
Yeah, and, like, all the power to anyone who wants to put themselves out there and do their thing. And in whatever way that it works for you, please do it. And, you know, share with us, like, what is it that you're doing, and how is it working for you? And I'd be curious to hear if anyone else has been starting to notice this downward trend of it, or, you know, maybe they've been waiting and hoping that it was going to happen. I don't know.
Yeah, let's go for more inclusion.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on girl bosses, and what are you gonna do? Because, yeah, for, like, you now I'm the ball is spinning in my head.
New can of worms.
Because, like, with what you do too, like, the coaching industry very much leans on, like, the girl boss and, like, the leadership.
Yeah, there's so, well, until I started taking the training that I'm in right now, my coactive coach training, all the coaches I knew were women. Now, many of my courses are like 50-50 men and women, which is really great, because you need everyone at the table to learn, right? Like, if it was just women sitting there or just men sitting there, you're just missing so much whenever you're having a really good discussion. So I'm really happy that there's a lot of that. But then I also, like, I thought I would coach so many more women than men. But right now, over half of my clients are male.
That's awesome that they're taking the initiative to get coached and stuff.
And I think it's really cool, but it's not what I expected.
Yeah.
And I'm sure maybe other people might be really surprised by that too. But, I mean, also, I'm a leadership coach. Yeah. And as we were just talking about, a lot of those leadership positions are still held by men. Yeah. So, in a way, it kind of makes sense. But I like having these types of conversations. I like being able to look at them from different perspectives as well, and just see, like, how can we open these doors, and how can we see, like, what really truly is possible, and where are we willing to risk our ego, right? Because I think that's what's, I don't remember the number of Lego my ego, but that's another... We're just hitting all of our...
You're doing so good at remembering the episode
I will
number.
get better. I will get better. But that's another good one too, right? Like, that's what's holding us back. So I think I'm all for movements that have the right intentions behind them. But I also know that anything can get spun in a way that benefits the wrong people. Yeah. And I say wrong, it may not be wrong, just not the people it was intended to benefit, I guess. Right? So exactly. I think we as consumers need to be smart and educated about those types of things. So these businesses that are targeting the millennials to make them feel good about helping and stuff, like, what are they truly doing? Yeah. And are you paying a premium for that to happen? Exactly. Right? So I just hope that people take the time to get educated and don't just fall for beautiful marketing, because I mean, that's what marketing is there for. Yeah. But I also do believe that millennials are very smart and savvy. And so if this is all targeted towards them, that they will maybe fall for it once or twice, but they're smart. They're going to catch on. They're going to recognize, and they are going to be a force to be reckoned with if you mess with them.
Well, same with like the new ages coming to be, like the Gen Zs and stuff like that. They're just, like, not taking any of it. Like, you see on TikTok and you're just like, wow, they just don't give two shits. I love it. Yeah.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen in this world as stronger voices are, becoming of age and getting out into the world. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting.
Be very interesting. And
so maybe there'll be a new Girl Boss slogan, but I think every time we learn from things like this, we're going to do things better and better.
Exactly.
And I don't know. Hopefully it really does move in that direction.
Let's hope.
Where's my crystal ball?
The crystal ball.
Picture the future. And just before we wrap it up, I wanted to share this line from another article that I found as well, which we'll also tag in the show notes. It says, while the girl boss has met a swift and public downfall, that's actually a good thing. And it's not the end of the female leader. Instead, it's the beginning of a new space for more inclusive leaders to shine without being defined by gender.
Yes. Praise hands, emojis everywhere.
Yeah, I found that really powerful, clearly, because I copied and pasted it into my notes.
Good job, Business Insider.
Yeah, I found that one. Yeah, I liked it. It was really interesting. And that's from about a year ago. So I'm interested that's, should go see if they have anything more recent. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed that.
Yeah. And of course, as always, we would love to pass it off to you folks as well. What are your thoughts on it? Do you still say #GirlBoss? Are you glad to see the shift? We always would like to know. And please, if you are listening and you do enjoy our podcast, like, share, subscribe. If you leave a review for us on iTunes or anything, it helps us out gratefully, and we would seriously appreciate it. But honestly, thank you so much for listening and or watching to another episode, season 3. Here we are.
We're back.
Back, baby.
We missed you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Thriving Tides. Hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode.
Follow us, Thriving Tides, on Facebook, Instagram, and now YouTube to stay connected. And remember, don't fight the rip currents.